If you've been making mistakes with bon and bien, this video is the only video you're ever going to have to watch to understand when precisely and correctly to use these words bon and bien. At the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to distinguish between the both, understand their meanings, and most importantly, use them correctly in sentences. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! Bienvenue au French Arena. I'm Sumo, votre professeur de français. You might ask, okay, Sumo, thank you, but what exactly do these words mean? Bon is an adjective and it means good. It usually agrees in gender, that is masculine or feminine, and in number, that is singular or plural, with the noun it describes. Bien, on the other hand, is an adverb that means well or good. It doesn't change form and it's used to describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Let us take a look at the gender agreements to understand when to use which. For masculine singular, we use bon. For feminine singular, we use bonne. For masculine plural, we use bon. And for feminine plural, we use bonne. So you see that the NE is, you do not say bonnie. Please know the E is silent, but you say bonne. That's to show you that the double N, you pronounce in the two N's, bonne. Let's take a look at sample sentences so you really know when precisely to use each of them. So for example, ce film est bon pour toute la famille. Another example, le café ici est très bon. Another example, ce restaurant a un bon service. Now let's move on to bonne, which is the feminine singular. For example, I can say, cette musique est très bonne pour se détendre. I can also say, sa recette de tarte aux pommes est bonne. I can also say, elle a donné une bonne réponse à la question. Okay, now let's move on to the masculine plural form, bon. I can say, ces livres sont bons pour apprendre le français. Another example, les films d'action sont souvent très bons au box-office. Mes amis sont bons à jouer au football. And finally, the last one, bonne, which is the feminine plural. I know it's the same pronunciation as the singular. It's just bonne with an S. Les vacances à la plage étaient bonnes pour nous. Another example, ces fraises sont bons et bien mûres. Les idées de mon équipe sont toujours bonnes. Okay, so there we have it. We really understand when to use bon, bonne, bon, ou bonne. Let me just give you some general rules as well to help you, because I know sometimes you might ask me, okay, so when do I know when to use the feminine? When do I know when to use the masculine? If the noun ends in age, mon, te, or use bon. For example, bon usage, bon gouvernement. Okay? But if the noun ends in ion, ti, or ur, use bonne. For example, bonne éducation, bonne culture. Okay? These are general rules. Of course, there are always exceptions, but just keep this in mind to start so that it helps you form the sentences better. Now, let's take a look at when to use bien. Bien. This is an adverb like I explained, and it's really used to explain how something is done. So for instance, I want to say he sings well. I can't say he sings good. I would say he sings well. So you're describing how something is done. She washes quickly. I would say il chante bien. He sings well. How does he sing? Remember, you're describing something. He sings well. Il chante bien. I want to say it's going well. Ça va bien. Ça va bien. Or I want to say she speaks French well. Elle parle français bien. Elle parle français bien. Or if I wanted to say you work well. Vous travaillez bien. Vous travaillez bien. You work well. So for instance, if I wanted to say he's a good cook, but he's not cooking well today, how would I say it? It's simple. I would say c'est un bon cuisinier, mais il ne cuisine pas bien aujourd'hui. Do you see? So I've used bon and I've also used bien. Let's look at another example. C'est une bonne enseignante, mais elle ne se sent pas bien aujourd'hui. So you see that you can use bon and bien, and now you understand when exactly to use them in a sentence. Okay, so please do not forget the key differences between bon versus bien. So you can see beside me once again, this table is very helpful. Bon is an adjective, bien is an adverb. Bon means good, bien means well. Bon agrees with gender and number. Bien does not agree with the gender and the number. And lastly, bon describes nouns. Bien describes verbs. adjectives, or other adverbs. And now, as always, let's test your knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to ask you just 5 questions just to ensure that you really understand everything you've learned today. Let me know in the comment section below if you got 5 over 5. If you got 1 over 5, it doesn't matter. What matters is you're actually practicing, and I promise you will get better. Number 1, ce film est très... What's the answer? Perfect. Ce film est très bon. Number 2, elle danse. What's the answer? Exactly. Elle danse bien. Number 3, ses pommes sont. What's the answer? Exactly. Ses pommes sont bonnes. Ses pommes sont bonnes. Ils étudient pour l'examen. What's the answer? Exactly. Ils étudient bien pour l'examen. And number 5, c'est un restaurant. What's the answer? Perfect. C'est un bon restaurant. So, just a quick recap. Bon is used for nouns and agrees in gender and number, while bien describes how actions are performed and does not change form. Ensure you continue practicing using bon and bien in your speaking and your writing, as this would help to reinforce your understanding. If you loved today's video, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with anyone else who you know might have been a bit confused about bon versus bien. Thank you for watching today's lesson, and until I see you in my next lesson, bonne journée.